my friends. It is now time for the Soulful Psalms segment of Beacon of Truth. The Soulful Psalms is where we take one of the Psalms from the wisdom literature of the Old Testament that we hear in every holy sacrifice of the Mass, and we connect that Psalm to your everyday lived experience. And the awesome thing is that this Soulful Psalms segment is its own podcast. You can go to the EWTN website and go to Podcast Central, or go to my website, deaconharold.com. Scroll down, you see a big banner that says Soulful Psalms. Click on that. It'll take you directly to the EWTN Podcast Central page where you can download it directly. Or you can download and listen on the EWTN app, which is what I do, or your favorite podcast platform, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and listen to the Soulful Psalms as its own podcast. And as usual, I'm using the Revised Grail Psalm translation, which is approved by the bishops for use in the Mass, and it was compiled by the Benedictine monks of Conception Abbey. So today, we're going to take just a look at a couple of verses from Psalm 94. So Psalm 94 is in book 4 of the Psalms, Psalms 90 to 106. And like many of the Psalms in this books 4, in this section of the Psalms, it does not have a prescript or a superscript to this Psalm. Now, we've already started diving into this Psalm, and we're going to pick up in verses 16 and 17. Those are the two verses we're going to look at today. So if you got your Bible, Psalm 94, let's start at verse 16. Who will stand up for me against the wicked? Who will defend me from those who do evil? Right? So you see the psalmist here, he's in a situation where he's recognizing that people don't want to hear what he has to say. He said, some people feel, he says, well, has the Lord abandoned us? God has to see what's going on around here. Who's going to stand? Like, he's asking a rhetorical question. I mean, duh. Who else is going to stand up for him but God? But he still asks the question, who's going to stand up for us against the wicked? Who's going to defend us from those who are going to do evil? They know the answer before they even ask the question. They know it's going to be the Lord. But still, again, part of that human nature, we have to sometimes say things out loud, right? We have to kind of put things on the table, right? And that's what they're doing here. And they know the answer is the Lord before they ask the question, because look what happens in verse 17. If the Lord were not to help me, my soul would soon go down to the silence. Wow. What amazing trust in God, knowing that if the Lord weren't going to help me, I'm lost. If the Lord doesn't come to my aid, if the Lord doesn't assist me, if he doesn't give me his grace, if I don't cooperate with his divine mercy, then I'm lost. I go down to the silence. Now, when he means go down to the silence, here they're talking about in Hades in Greek, or Sheol in Hebrew, which is the abode of the dead. It is not the eternal fire of hell, right? Because there was no hell yet, right? Because all the people that died from Adam, Eve, Abraham, Noah, David, Isaiah, all those folks from the Old Testament went down to Sheol or Hades, the abode of the dead, right? And they waited there for Jesus to come on the Holy Saturday to bring those souls out of that place of waiting to heaven, right? Into the bosom of Abraham, as Jesus tells us in the parable there. So they know that if the Lord were not to rescue, if the Lord were not to help us, we'd be lost. And what a beautiful lesson for us. If we don't put our trust in the Lord and we start trusting in the things of the culture or people of the culture, cults of personalities, popular, rock stars or athletes or whoever, then we will be lost, because we'll never satisfy the deepest longing and desire of our hearts, which is intimate, personal, loving, and life-giving communion with the Lord. All right, so beautiful.
For more on the Soulful Psalms with Deacon Harold Berg-Sivers, check out Beacon of Truth weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio and streaming everywhere you listen to podcasts.